4. Homeostasis. One of the most important points. Homeostasis, or why beggars are comfortable as beggars, poor are comfortable being poor, mediocres are content being mediocre, or winners always want to win. The property of a system, either open or closed, that regulates its internal environment and tends to maintain a stable, constant condition. Human homeostasis refers to the body's ability to physiologically regulate its inner environment to ensure its stability in response to fluctuations in the outside environment and the weather. What does this mean? If, for only a few months, you stay at the computer on the internet, your body gets used to it and will feel uncomfortable when you suddenly have to change this habit and go every day, for instance, to play soccer. If a person has become accustomed to poverty and a high amount of money is available to him, he will quickly spend it on whatever is available, because poverty is the natural state, and the body got used to this. And strange as it may seem, that extra money causes him discomfort, and the body wants to change this state to the previous one. If you become accustomed to idleness, it will be very hard to learn diligence, because it does not feel natural at all. When you disturb homeostasis, the body responds to it in a variety of ways. You can be affected by physical disorders such as dizziness, nausea, stomach discomfort, digestive disruption, or you can be affected by psychological disorders such as depression, laziness, and stress. You have to take that risk for all this, if you really want to have a different life than the one you have now. If you want to go quickly from what life offers you now to another one, the change will be tough, and that's the price you must pay. What I'll teach you is to bring out the qualities that you desire and develop your personality. To have the comfort you want, to have a sex life that you want, the relationship you desire, the lifestyle you want. To get the results you want, you need to be fully involved, physically and mentally. When you learn, and what you have to do to become successful in these aspects of life will not be a walk in the park. You will have to disturb homeostasis in order to achieve it, and it takes effort and sweat if you want to achieve in a short time what many do not get in a lifetime. At first, when I had to learn all these things, I didn't feel myself, but I did not give up, because I really wanted to succeed. And believe me, I never felt more myself than I do now. So think carefully before you say, I cannot do it, because I am not like that. It's your inside muppet that is telling you that, because a new idea means disturbing homeostasis. Anyone who prevents you from making a change because what you have is good enough is also a muppet. When you have this personal success, you feel more yourself than before. To have power in the outside world, you need to have inner strength. This means to rely on yourself, believe in yourself, know that no one is to blame except you. To have personal power is to have a real vision about yourself and the world, to be honest with yourself. Self-esteem is essential. Whatever you do from now on, keep this word in mind: respect. If you do not respect yourself, you lose before you begin. If you believe that you don't deserve respect, you'll have nothing. Homeostasis will make you feel comfortable regardless of your environment, success, or whether you're a happy person or not. If you want to get from who you are now to the person who has everything he wants, you will have to endure a temporary state of discomfort until you feel good about being the person you become. Our body, brain, and behaviour have an innate tendency to remain in the same state between some very narrow limits, and if those limits are exceeded, it will return to its previous state. And that's a good thing most times. If the body temperature would rise or fall by 10%, you have very big problems. It's the same with blood sugar and many other basic functions of your body. This state of balance or resistance to change is called homeostasis. From bacteria or a frog to a man, family, or large groups of people and whole cultures, homeostasis plays its role, and its laws are valid with mental states and behaviour, not just physical. I mentioned how physical homeostasis works. Mentally, if you're used to watching television 10 hours a day, this is a condition where you feel natural. Everything else is perceived as bad and hard for your body and mind. In groups, family, society, friends, the homeostasis balance are maintained by instructions, laws, penalties, privileges, rules, gifts, favours, signs of approval and affection. A nation is held together by its culture, laws, education, sports, etc. Thus, homeostasis helps maintain the status quo, and by doing so prevents change, even when our environment harms us. Let's say you have a family, bank debt, and feel pretty sick of your life. You work a lot to sustain your family, but you can't afford more than the minimum necessities. Now comes a documentary such as TROM, or you hear about the Venus Project somehow, a project that can substantially improve your life. You say you want to have such a life and live in such a way. You have heard that you can help this process by informing people about it, but you still say it's impossible. Although now you know that human behaviour is sculpted by the environment, that people are motivated by the purpose of work, money is an invention, and that present technology is capable of producing such a system, you still find it impossible? You're afraid of this system. You will associate with New World Order or other conspiracy theories. You're afraid for your family. You're afraid you'll lose your job, and you continue creating negative scenarios in your mind. You feel small. You cannot find any reason for you to get involved. Although you don't have any real reason why this system could not work. You always say that the way you act now, service and family care, is the most mature, most suitable way to act for such a situation. You discard your desire for that kind of life by saying to yourself that, if such a system is possible, others will put it into practice. You then return to the state you were in before. Homeostasis does not distinguish between changes for the better and change for the worse. It resists any change. Any state that you are now in is considered normal by your physique and psyche. This is the first problem that you encounter. If you are poor, sedentary, without success, physically and mentally broke, depressed for too long, it is considered normal, and any attempt to change will be perceived as a threat to your body and mind. The first step is understanding that it will start when you begin to change, to know and fight homeostasis. Be aware of how homeostasis works, and then strive for change. Do not let it stop you. Expect the physical and mental resistance. When the alarm starts ringing, it does not mean that you are sick or dying, or what you want is impossible, or you're lazy, or that you are wrong by choosing to change. It's an indicator that your life is changing the way you want, for your benefit, through your choices. Do not panic and do not give in. As I said, you can expect resistance from family, friends, the entourage. Homeostasis applies to social groups as well. When you start to change, the whole system that you belong to begins to change. People will often react negatively, but they don't want to harm you. It's just homeostasis, and they will adapt if you persevere. Negotiate with your resistance to change. When the change starts, pay attention to pain, discontent. You have to persevere and to push forward, but be careful not to push too far. At the limit, but aware of you. Do not push forward like crazy. Negotiate with the pain. How do you react when you push the limits? Fear, psychosomatic, self-sabotage, quarrels with others? None of the above? Stay tuned. Negotiate. Develop a support system. The best support comes from people who have gone through something similar, or maybe even go with you. Homeostasis can easily be noticed in our case, the system change. If you present to people the Venus Project, a project that will change their life significantly, raise their level of comfort, free them from servitude, and they are not interested in this idea, regardless of its basis in reality, this clearly demonstrates the psychological effects of homeostasis. If you are not interested in improving your life, it means that the body is fighting to maintain the current status.